Good afternoon, one and all. Let us start the module number 3. This is lecture number 20. It's a very important chapter, quite an easy chapter, and this chapter discusses different aspects of one very important thing in any network, which is called as QoS, that is quality of service. So all the topics from this chapter can be found out from your book. That is a book of Murthy. I have divided the whole module topics into three parts. So this is the first part is given in black. So first initially we will see what is the introduction, what are the different aspects of quality of service, then quality of service in ad hoc wireless network, then classification of QoS solutions. So different layer wise classification we will see. So first, as MAC layer we have studied, that is medium access. We will see what are the quality of services that can be offered from MAC layer point of view. Then there will be network layer solution of QoS routing. Then there are different parts in it. There are different algorithms which are explained in QoS at network layer. So first one is ticket based QoS. So these are different protocols that we have to go through. Then there is predictive location based QoS. So there is a proof here, predictive location based QoS. That is, if some node is continuously moving, then also we have to keep the node link intact, and we have to offer the quality of service. So how can you do that? So there is a proof and a little bit diagram is there. So all these are 10 marks questions. Then there is on-demand link state multipath QoS routing protocol. So these three are very important topics. This here actually three protocols, that is ticket based, predictive location based, and on-demand link state multipath QoS routing protocol. So these are the network level or network layer solution of quality of service. Then comes a framework, that is quality of service framework for ad hoc wireless network. And finally there comes QoS model and flexible QoS model for mobile ad hoc network. So this finishes the second part of the QoS in as far as this module 3 is concerned. So first part, which is shown in black, it is mainly for the introduction and MAC layer QoS. Then there comes different network layer QoS solutions. There comes three different protocols. Then QoS framework and QoS models for flexible QoS. The second part. Finally, it goes to another aspect of quality of service, that is the energy aspect. So need for energy management in ad hoc wireless network. So we have seen the energy issue in MAC. That was the last topic, that is the PCM. Okay, and then we had seen the different energy metrics in case of routing protocol. We had seen 5 metrics of energy in routing protocol. And this 11th topic is the need for energy management in ad hoc wireless network from QoS point of view. So you will find this is one topic which is common, which is the energy aspect of any issue. So MAC layer, there is an energy issue. Routing protocol, there, what are the energy aspects of it? And QoS, then QoS also there is a energy protocol for that. So need for energy management in ad hoc wireless network, a very important question, repeatedly asked. Then there comes three different classification of energy management schemes in case of ad hoc wireless network. So all these last 5 points, if you see, they are all related to energy and power management in ad hoc network. First, why energy management is required in ad hoc wireless network, then classification of energy management schemes, battery management, transmission power management, and system power management. So these three are the things we have to see in detail. Okay, so mainly you can divide this chapter into 3 parts. First one is introduction, second one is network layer based solution, and third one is the energy part. So the target is we have to finish all these things within 5 to 6 lectures. So if there are some offline lectures, I might conduct myself and I will upload the thing for easy topics only. Difficult topics and where more understanding is required, definitely they will be conducted. And all the PPTs and all the lectures will be uploaded. So far I have uploaded, I think, around 17 lectures. 18th and 19th, there is a last 2-hour session on routing that will be uploaded today. And this session, whatever is being conducted now, this also will be uploaded today. So let us start with the topic. So you will find everything from the book of Murthy in chapter number 10 and 11. So initial parts you can find in chapter number 10. In case of Murthy, the soft copy is already with you. And we are going to see mainly three topics today. There is a real-time traffic support. So what is QoS, quality of service, and issues and challenges of QoS in ad hoc wireless network. And last one is classification of QoS solutions. So all these three topics I will try to cover in 7 or 8 slides I have. In that I'll try to cover these three topics. Okay, so while explaining MAC, I told you what is generally QoS. So quality of service, whenever we are thinking about a sender and a receiver, and there are many intermediate nodes. So quality of service, I told you there are three things you can write down. First one is the data should reach from transmitter to the receiver without minimum amount of delay, or within a specified time the data should reach from sender to the receiver. First thing. Second thing, if you are planning to send 15 data packets, so all the 15 data packets should be reaching the receiver side within the specified time. So 15 packets transmitted from the transmitter or sender, 15 packets should reach to the receiver. So there is a second point, number of packet count should be same. Transmitted packet should be equal to received packet. And third thing, the packet, whenever it is reaching the receiver, it should be unaltered. So it should not happen that 15 packet you have transmitted, 15 are reaching to the receiver, but all the data inside the packet got distorted due to some transmission problem or something. It should not happen. So three things mainly. First is time count, it should be within specified time. Second is number of packets transmitted should be equal to received packet. And third is quality of transmission, that is whenever some packets are passing through the channel or media, that media effect or transmission effect or ad hoc wireless network effects should not alter the quality of data inside the data packets. So these three things, if we can maintain, we can say that we are offering quality of service. So let us have the introduction of QoS. It is saying QoS is the performance level of a service offered by the network to the user. Now all are using Airtel, so I'm not talking about ad hoc network but cellular network. Airtel, Jio and Vodafone. So maybe Airtel is giving you uninterrupted connectivity. So you will say quality of service offered by Airtel is better than Jio and Vodafone. So it is not only service, it is the quality of service that we are talking about. So in the first chapter we had seen MAC, in the second chapter we have seen routing. So now we know how the data transfers from sender to the receiver, what are the different routing protocols, what are the different MAC protocols, all these things we know. Now we will see how best the service quality can be achieved within any network. Okay, so that is actually called as QoS, and the goal of QoS is to achieve more deterministic network behavior. That means it should not be random, it should be fixed and it should be good. Information carried by the network can be better delivered and network resources can be better utilized. So both the things we have to ensure. So from network point of view, yes, utilizing a minimum amount of power and utilizing minimum amount of bandwidth to transmit highest amount of data from the source to the receiver, that is the target. Information carried by the network can be better delivered. Better delivered means those three things without much delay. The same amount of transmitted packet should be equal to received packet, and quality of the packet should be unaltered. So from data point of view, what is the QoS, and from network resource point of view, what are the QoS, all those things we will be saying layer wise. So mainly two layer we will know in detail as far as QoS is concerned. First one is the MAC layer and second one is the network layer. So these two layer QoS operation we will find. So a network service provider offers different kind of services to the user. A service is defined by a set of measurable pre-specified service requirements such as minimum bandwidth. So minimum bandwidth should be utilized for the maximum data transmission. There should be maximum delay and maximum delay variance. So it is not meaning that delay should be maximum. It is not that. How much is the maximum delay? Okay, so maximum delay value also should be as less as possible between the transmission and receiving. So if I'm saying that yes, I want the data to be delivered, so whenever we are sending a parcel to some of our relative, we say how much can be the maximum delay. So maximum delay should be as less as possible. So don't confuse here. Maximum delay is required by a network. It is not like that. How much can be the maximum delay, and whether that maximum delay is less than the delay you can sustain, that is the question. So whenever we are sending a packet to the somebody, we just ask the courier service that maximum kitna din mein pahunchega. So if he says that maximum it will take 2 days, so you can sustain 4 days, so 2 days is good enough. Okay, so maximum delay of the network should be less than maximum delay that you can sustain. That is the meaning of this. And what is the maximum delay variance? So the courier people told you that it will reach maximum in 2 days, but yes, 1 day can be the variance. So these values, maximum delay by network, maximum delay variance, jitter means variance in delay. All these values should be as less as possible. Okay, and maximum packet loss rate. So the maximum packet loss rate of the network should be less than your tolerance level of minimum packet loss rate. Suppose you want the packet loss rate should not be more than 10 packets per transmission. In that case, you have to choose a network which is having maximum 5 packet loss per transmission. In that case, it will do. So your maximum packet loss tolerance that should be less than what you can sustain. So these are the some of the quality of service parameters that we are checking for every network before transmitting and receiving the data. After accepting a service request from the user, the network has to ensure that the service requirements of the user are met as per the agreement. So as per the agreement means the network service provider is saying yes, maximum 5 packet will be lost per transmission, but you can sustain 10 packet loss. That means you can use that network. So even if you in your transmission 10 packets are lost per transmission, then also your data quality will be kept intact. And this network is telling you they are having maximum packet of 5 packet per transmission loss. So your lowest level is greater than the maximum loss rate of the network. In that case, yes, this network is good. But if you are saying I need a network where the packet loss rate should not be greater than 10, 10 packets per transmission, and one network provider tells you that his network is giving 20 packets loss per transmission, then that network you cannot use. Okay, so the network maximum packet loss rate should be less than your tolerable packet loss rate threshold. That is to be understood. So these are the agreements. Okay, so throughout the duration of the flow and for each packet from the source to destination, all this agreement has to be maintained. And how much bandwidth will be provided, how much data rate will be provided, how much will be the minimum or maximum delay in transmission. All those agreements has to be done from the beginning of the communication, and throughout it should be sustained. The network has to provide a set of service guarantees while transporting a flow of data from the source to the receiver. After receiving user's service request, so we are the user, first a suitable loop-free path is found from source to the destination that will have the necessary resource available to meet the QoS requirement of the desired service. So there are many paths from the source to the destination. We will see a topology just now after this slide. Okay, there are many paths, but among them, those paths, depending on our requirement, we have to choose which path is most suitable for this transmission. So that is what is said, that QoS requirement of the desired service is given not by all path. Okay, so whichever path from source to the receiver is giving me my required service, that path I will choose for source to destination data transfer. So this process is known as QoS routing. So QoS routing part is a big question asked in the exam, that explain QoS routing by means of a topology and a table. So next 2 slides will be QoS routing related solution. So that diagram you have to draw, that table you have to write in the exam, and that will be a QoS routing related solution. So which is the best path for any metric? Okay, so what are the metrics? Bandwidth should be as high as possible, delay should be as less as possible, hop count should be as less as possible. Depending on that, we choose which is the best path for transmission of data from one point to another. After finding a suitable path, a resource reservation protocol is employed to reserve the necessary resources along the path. QoS guarantees can be provided only with appropriate resource reservation technique. So this is a technique where the path is decided first. First the path is found out, and as soon as the path is found out, if it is meeting all the requirements, then that path and its resources are fixed, and then the source to destination data transmission will take place only through that path. Let us see this routing diagram topology, and this is actually the best scenario for QoS. So what is there? Whenever I'm mentioning, so there are 8 nodes in this. I want to transmit data from sender B, that is a green node, to the receiver G. Okay, so this is the question, and there are attributes. So what are the attributes of each path? So attributes are given inside a tuple. So this is a tuple, whatever you call. So inside this, there is first 4. 4 means this is the bandwidth. Okay, so this 4 means 4 Mbps, and 5 means 5 millisecond delay. That means if data tries to come from B to C node, it will be transmitted over 4 Mbps bandwidth, and it will be having delay of 5 milliseconds. That is meaning by this. If data wants to transmit, if data wants to travel from A to B or B to A, in that case it will be using 3 Mbps data link. So this is the bandwidth of this link, and there will be a delay of 5 milliseconds between B to A. A to D, if data wants to go, in that case it will be using 2 Mbps line. So there is a 2 Mbps line, and 6 millisecond delay will be there between A to D. So for every path there is the bandwidth in Mbps, and there is a delay in millisecond. All these things are mentioned, you can check. Now there are actually 6 available paths for the data from B to G. For every path, what is the hop count? So hop count means if data wants to come from B to G, how many hops are there? There are 2 hops. So B to E is 1 hop, E to G is 1 hop. So you can check first path, that is BEG. That means data is coming from B to E and E to G. So how many hops? There are only 2 hops. And what will be the overall delay? Delay will be addition of 4 plus 5. So delay will be total 9 milliseconds. So you can check here end-to-end delay. This is in milliseconds. So there will be 9 milliseconds. You can add this 4 and 5. And what will be the bandwidth? So B to E link is having 2 Mbps bandwidth. E to G is having 3 Mbps bandwidth. So this link is having 2 Mbps and this link is having 3 Mbps. So overall, this link bandwidth from B to G will be the lesser of this 2 and 3. So if 2 and 3 both have the bandwidth, so if I ask overall bandwidth from B to G, it will be 2 Mbps. Okay, so whatever is the less. So this 2 is the Mbps is the bandwidth of this link, B to E. 3 Mbps is the bandwidth of E to G link. So B to G link will be having bandwidth of lesser of 2 and 3. So that's why it is called as 2. And hop count is 2. So from B to G, the hop count is 2. Just check BEFG, the second part. Okay, second path, BEFG. What is that? B, E, F, and G. Okay, so both these paths are bidirectional path. Data can go from E to F and F to E. So what is the next path? BEFG. So there are 3 hops. One is B to E, E to F, and F to G. So BEFG, you can check there are 3 hops and minimum of 2, 4, and 4. So this path is having bandwidth of 2. This path is having bandwidth of 4 Mbps, and this path is having bandwidth of 4 Mbps. So minimum of them is 2 Mbps. That's why BEFG path is having bandwidth of 2 Mbps. And what is the overall delay? Delay means whenever the data is transmitted and whenever the data is received at the receiver, time difference between that. So this first path is giving you 4 millisecond delay, second path is giving you 3 millisecond delay, and third path is giving you 4 millisecond delay. So this 4 plus 3 plus 4, that is the 11 millisecond is the delay for BEFG path. So BEFG path likewise. Okay, next check BCFG. So BCFG, so there are total 3 hops. One is B to C, C to F, and F to G. Total bandwidth is 4, 5, and 4. Minimum of that is 4. So that's why 3 hop count. 4 is the 4 Mbps is the minimum bandwidth, and delay is 5 plus 6 plus 4. You can check this is 5, this is 4, and this is 6. So there will be total 11 plus 4, that is 15 millisecond. Likewise, this can be another path B, A, D, E, and G. So there is a 4th path, 5th path B, A, D, E, and G. Another path is B, C, F, E, and G. So there's a fourth path B, C, F, E, and G. So for every path, the hop count, end-to-end Mbps, and delay all are mentioned. And last path is B, A, D, E, F, G. Okay, so B, A, D, E, F, G. This is 5 hop count, and minimum bandwidth is 2 because this path is having minimum bandwidth of 2. So overall path bandwidth will be 2 Mbps only, and total delay is 5 plus 6 plus 7, that is 18, plus 3, that is 21, and 4, that is 25. So this is the scenario. Now just find out the best path. Okay, so best path depends on best path with least hop count. So first, if you want, so from this table, so this table you have to make first, and this diagram you have to draw first, and depending on that you have to find out different best case scenarios. So what is the least hop count? So least hop count is in the path BEG. So to go from transmitter to the receiver, I want to have least hop count. So if hop count is the quality of service you are offering, in that case, path 1 is the best path because path 1 is having least hop count. If somebody says I want highest bandwidth, so highest bandwidth is path B, C, E, and G, which is shown by the purple line, and this is the direction because purple B, C, F, and G. So purple B, C, F, and G. This is having 3 hop count, and this is having end-to-end bandwidth of 4 Mbps because this to this path is having 4 Mbps, C to F is having 5 Mbps, and F to G is having 4 Mbps. So minimum of 4, 5, and 4, that will be actually 4. So path second BCFG, this is having highest bandwidth, that means data transmission rate with that will be highest. So what is that? How much is that? That is actually 4 Mbps. Now if somebody says I want the least delay between transmitter to the receiver, in that case again least hop count and least delay will be the same. So B to G hop count is least. What is that? 4 plus 5, 9. So this is the third column. Best or least delay is the first path BEG. So that is what it is written here. Least delay is path 1 BEG. Least hop count is the path 1 BEG, and highest bandwidth is the path 3, that is B, C, F, and G. So all these 3 are the quality of service. All 3 are the 3 qualities based on which the best suitable path is given. So somebody says I want best bandwidth. I don't have to look to the how many hop count is there, what is the delay and all. I don't want to see. Okay, just check that this third path is having higher amount of delay. Okay, 15 is a lot greater than 9. So whenever you are talking about third path, it is having more delay. Okay, but this is having highest bandwidth. So if somebody is looking for a path with highest bandwidth and other parameters are not of importance, not of any importance, so in that case he will go by path number 3. Somebody said I don't want to check the bandwidth, I want only lowest hop count. In that case, path 1 will be best because path 1 is having lower bandwidth, but path 1 is having lowest hop count. So depending on every user's demand, the service provider has to give him a different quality of service. Okay, so it's the same thing. Somebody goes for some shopping kind of a thing and he says that I want best quality, doesn't matter what is the price. In that case, the shopkeeper will show different kind of things to the person. And somebody goes into a shop and he says I don't want quality, I want the cheapest thing. So in that case, the shopkeeper will show him different kind of things. So this is the same thing. Whenever we are designing a network, we have to choose what is the property that we want, least hop count or least delay or highest bandwidth, and depending on that, the path selection criteria or path changes from the source to the destination. Same thing is shown here with some kind of written here. So the attributes are given by bandwidth and delay. So 3 and 5 means 3 Mbps is the bandwidth and 5 millisecond is the delay. So a packet flow from B to G. So packet has to go from B and it should reach G. So how many paths can be there? So there can be 6 paths we have shown here. And the question is I want the highest bandwidth. Okay, so in that case, after doing the table, you have to tell that here's the path 3, that is BCFG. BCFG is my path for highest bandwidth. So in that case, that will be satisfying the quality of service that the customer is demanding. So QoS routing searches for a path that has sufficient bandwidth to meet the bandwidth requirement. So bandwidth requirement is given in red, 4 Mbps. Here 6 paths are available between node B to G, but QoS routing selects path 3, B, C, F, G, because only path 3 meets the bandwidth requirement. End-to-end bandwidth of a path is equal to the bandwidth of the link with the minimum bandwidth among all the paths. So this is what I'm telling. So this path is having 4, this path is having 5, this path is having 4. So this is actually called link B to C, link C to F, and link F to G. And B to G is called the overall path. So B, C, F, G is called as a path, and B to C, C to F, and F to G is called as link. So each link bandwidth we check among them, whatever is the least bandwidth link, that will be the path bandwidth. So that is what is said here. End-to-end bandwidth of a path is equal to the bandwidth of the link with minimum bandwidth among all the paths. The end-to-end delay of a path is equal to the sum of the delays of all the links. So here 4, 5, 4, list is 4. So third path is having bandwidth of 4 Mbps, and 5, 6, 4, that is the total 15. There is a 15 millisecond delay, is the delay from B to G for path 3. Clearly path 3 is not optimal in terms of hop count. So this is not the best path for hop count, because BEG is having least hop count. Okay, so but BCFG is having best bandwidth characteristic, while path 1 is optimal in terms of hop count and delay, and path 3 is optimal in terms of bandwidth. So every customer is having a different need, every customer is having a different ask. Depending on that, quality of service has to be provided. So QoS routing has to select a suitable path that meets the QoS constant specified in the service request made by the user. So depending on what user asks, the service provider has to give him quality of service accordingly, and every user might be having a different kind of ask. Okay, so service provider has to be very flexible in providing any kind of service to the customer. So that is what is called as designing of proper network. So this explanations in this previous 2 slides, and with the topology diagram, with the table, with the counts, you can have your own topology also. Not necessarily you have to draw this one only. You can have a smaller topology in the exam, but explanation has to be very proper. Okay, so what is meant by this 4, 5, how it is decided, how is the overall path bandwidth selected, how is the overall path delay calculated, how is the overall path hop count calculated. All these things you have to explain in detail if this question is asked for 10 marks. Now I'm going to move forward fast. So real-time traffic support in ad hoc wireless network. So how this ad hoc wireless network traffic is supported in real time. Real time means generally we are talking about voice data and all. Okay, so here the sense of quality of service comes big time. Okay, because we are playing with real time data, and network has to support the real time data and guarantee that real time data will not get distorted. Very important parameters I have explained here, just check. So real time applications require mechanisms that guarantee bounded delay and delay jitter. So delay means 3 millisecond, and delay jitter means suppose 0.5 millisecond. So maximum 0.5 millisecond delay can be more. Okay, so both are bounded. So 3 millisecond is the delay, and it will not get beyond 3.5 millisecond. So 0.5 millisecond is again a bound on the delay, that is called as jitter. So we say that how much can be the score in today's match? We say that 180 plus minus 10. So it can be 180 plus 10, it can be 180 minus 10. So that 180 is the actual value, and plus minus 10 is actually the jitter. So here also I can say that maximum delay can be 3 millisecond plus another 0.5 millisecond. So maximum it can be 3.5 likewise. So the end-to-end delay in packet delivery includes. So what are the factors in end-to-end packet delivery? What are the delays? Number one, the queuing delay at the source and the intermediate nodes. So a lot of packets are queued in the source and intermediate nodes. Okay, so at one instant, in one shot, they will not be transmitted. So whatever time is wasted for queuing, that is called as queuing delay at the source as well as at the intermediate nodes, because intermediate nodes also may get congested. So all the delays for the packets in source node and intermediate node are added to calculate the overall delay. The proper processing time at the intermediate nodes, so data are processed, some things are added, some things are subtracted, sometimes redundancy is removed. So there is a data processing kind of thing at intermediate node as well as at the center node. So that is also getting added in the delay. And the propagation duration over multiple hops from the source node to the destination node. So this is actually the traveling time. C is actually the traveling time, but apart from that there is a processing time and there is a queuing time. So what is the total time of delay from source to the destination? It is the addition of number 1 processing time, number 2 queuing time, and number 3 actual propagation time. So this is a very important question. It can be asked in short question, that what are the total time components of a delay from the source to the destination. So it is actually total propagation time plus queuing time plus processing time. Real-time applications can be classified as, so depending on this timing, real-time application can be classified as hard real-time application and soft real-time application. To tell you in short what is meant by hard real-time application, it will very strictly follow the QoS time parameter. So if somebody says that the college starts at 10 o'clock, if you are coming before 10 o'clock, you will be allowed in the class. If you are coming even 1 second late than 10 o'clock, you will not be allowed. So that is called as very hard function. Okay, so some applications are there like military applications, satellite applications, reactor control applications. It is called hard real-time application because not even millisecond, microsecond delays are acceptable in this kind of applications. So hard real-time application requires strict QoS guarantee. From timing point of view, some of the hard real-time applications include nuclear reactor control, air traffic control, missile control. So the systems which are generally very fast, the system which are having timing in millisecond, microsecond, there our quality of service of timing should be very strictly maintained because that is called as hard real-time application. Military application, satellite application, security based application, okay, and some industry high cost application, high cost of production. So there little bit even microsecond delay or microsecond maladjustment of time will not be accepted. So that is called hard real-time application. Soft real-time application can tolerate, so there is a second type, it can tolerate degradation in the guaranteed QoS to a certain extent, not any time. Okay, so college starts at 10, if you are coming 15 minutes late, you will be allowed, but if you come half an hour late, definitely you will be thrown out of the college. So soft real-time application can have a little more tolerance. Hard real-time application is zero tolerance system. 10 o'clock means 10 o'clock. Soft real-time system or applications can have little bit degradation in the timing of QoS. Some of the soft real-time applications are voice telephony. So 1 or 2 word gets dropped in between, no problem, still we can converse. Okay, video on demand and video conferencing, all these things. So this kind of lectures we are taking, suddenly in between 1 or 2 minutes there is a link failure or something. But after the link failure, again the link is regained and again we start talking. So you are missing nothing in fact. Okay. But military application and nuclear reactor control, if you say for 2 minutes there will not be any control, then simply the nuclear reactor will blast. Okay. So this is the difference between hard real-time application for QoS and soft real-time application for QoS. So soft real-time application can have some time tolerance. So in this application, the loss of data and variation in delay and delay jitter may degrade the service but do not produce hazardous results. Hazardous means whenever there is a loss of life, loss of property, that is called as hazardous result. But in hard real-time application, if something is delayed maybe for 1 second or so, so there may be a hazardous kind of outcome. So life might be wasted, a lot of property might be wasted, and those things can happen. So this is a very important question. This you have to understand. Where you can apply hard real-time application of QoS, where you can have soft real-time application of QoS, things should be very clear for you. Military application is hard real-time. Voice application is soft real-time. Reactor control is hard real-time. Likewise. Providing hard real-time guarantees in ad hoc network are extremely difficult due to reasons such as unrestricted mobility of node. dynamically varying network topology, time varying channel capacity, and presence of hidden terminal. So these are the four reasons because of which in ad hoc network we cannot adhere to the QoS very strictly, because there will always be node mobility, there will always be dynamic varying network topology, because as soon as nodes are moving, topology will change, time varying channel capacity. So as the nodes are moving, reconnection has to happen between the nodes. To establish the reconnection between different nodes, it will waste some time. In that time, the channel capacity will be zero, and just after the node is reconnected, immediately the channel will not be transmitting in its full capacity. So all these sort of problems, so hidden terminal problems, so all these sort of problems are there in case of ad hoc wireless node. So that's why providing a real-time quality of service for ad hoc network is a very big challenge. But then also we are trying to do that, and how we can do that: MAC layer solution, network layer solution, a routing protocol based solution. All these things are explained in this chapter. So this is actually the crux. This is actually the main theme of this chapter. That though the ad hoc wireless network is having mobility issue, dynamic network topology, dynamic channel capacity, and presence of hidden terminal, then also we should be able to apply, or we should be able to provide quality of service in ad hoc network based application. How we can do that? That is layer based solution, which are explained in this chapter in the later slides. So the research community is currently focusing on providing QoS support for applications that require soft real-time guarantees. So both researches are going on, that is hard real-time application in ad hoc, soft real-time application in ad hoc. In soft real-time there is a tolerance time variation, but how much time variation is acceptable? There also should be some limit. There also should be some bound. Okay, so all those things are being explored by the research community. What are the QoS parameters in ad hoc wireless network? So you can say there is a QoS goal or QoS features. So as different applications have different requirements. Obviously, military application is different than industrial application. That is different than domestic applications. Okay, so different applications are having different QoS requirements. Sometimes it will be hard real time, sometimes it will be soft real time. The services required by them and the associated QoS parameter differ from application to application. Some of the applications I have explained, and this is asked in the short note, in short question. Please prepare this slide. For example, in case of multimedia application, bandwidth, delay, jitter, delay are the key QoS parameters. So if it is multimedia voice application or maybe video application, in that case bandwidth, how much is the delay and how much is the variation in the delay. Delay jitter is nothing but variation in the delay. That is actually the main parameter. Military application, security is the highest quality of service parameter. So anything happens, but security should not be breached. That is actually the highest QoS you can offer for military applications. Emergency search and rescue operations like disaster management and all, availability of the network is the key QoS parameter. So wherever you are deploying the network, maybe a flood has occurred and you have deployed some sensors to check if there are any bodies or dead bodies underwater. So for that you have deployed some submerged kind of sensors. Okay, and those sensors should be interconnected, and they should be giving you information regarding if there is any body underlying the water. So in that case, network connectivity or getting the availability of the network in the whole region, that is the main quality of service or service parameter. Applications such as group communication in a conference hall require that transmissions among nodes consume little energy as possible. Hence, battery life is the main QoS parameter in case of group conference, okay, within a hall. Unlike traditional wired networks, where the QoS parameters are mainly characterized by the requirements of multimedia traffic, in ad hoc network, the QoS requirements are more influenced by the resource constraints of the node. So in actual wireless communication, what we are finding is there the QoS parameters are mainly characterized by multimedia traffic. That means data should be transmitted in the highest rate. That's all. But in ad hoc wireless network, it is not only data transmission, but the data transmission should happen with lowest possible bandwidth. The data transmission should happen with using least amount of battery from the sources from the node. The data transmission should happen without congestion of any network node. the data transmission should happen with least amount of delay from the sender to the receiver. So all these are different basic parameters which are actually checked in case of ad hoc wireless network. So that's why it is saying in ad hoc wireless network, QoS requirements are more influenced by the resource constraint of the nodes. So resource means first resource is bandwidth, second resource is energy. So these two resources must be maintained, and these two resources must be utilized network connectivity and data transmission to the best. Some of the resource constraints are battery charge, processing power, and buffer space. So buffer space is nothing but the amount of memory that is available with the nodes. Okay, so the main three things is with mobility also we should be able to provide quality of service in ad hoc wireless network by using least amount of power, by using least amount of network bandwidth, and by using least amount of memory space with very small processing power or processing capability from the microcontrollers. We should be able to maintain quality of service, and data should be transmitted from transmitter and should go to the receiver. That is actually the QoS parameter for ad hoc wireless network. So these 4 applications, every application the parameter of quality is very clearly mentioned. Please understand these 4 applications properly. So now this is, I think, is the last question. So let us classify in 2 ways, based on QoS approach employed and QoS solution based on layer at which they operate in the network protocol stack. So this diagram you will find in your book. So depending on how the QoS approach is employed. Okay, so whether you are doing QoS for quality of service for bandwidth, or you are giving quality of service for battery, or giving quality of service for least time. So that is QoS approach of different types. Okay, and second one is QoS solution based on the layer. So I told you initially our syllabus is having MAC layer based QoS solution, network layer based QoS solution. So likewise. So here there are mainly 3 headers. It might not be visible. I'll just read it out. So based on interaction between routing protocol and QoS provisioning mechanism. So this is the first category. Second is based on interaction between different network and MAC layer. So how the different networks are communicating with MAC layer, depending on that we can have different types of QoS protocol. Based on the routing information update mechanism. Okay, so we can have different kind of quality of service. So this is one topic. This is one type of classification. Then again, layer-wise QoS solution is again explained in detail. So layer-wise QoS solution is again divided into 3 parts. First one is MAC layer-based solution. So in this case, it is written cluster TDMA 802.11e. So this we will see in the last chapter. That is the 5th chapter. DBase, MACA, RTMAC. So these are some protocols which are actually providing MAC layer based solution for QoS. Network layer based solution. So there are mainly 3 types. One is on demand, one is table driven, one is hybrid. So this is actually the one of the types, that is layer wise QoS solution. Whenever I send you the slides, you can check it and you can listen to my video. So this is one of the 3 types shown in the previous slide. So this is one type is network wise QoS solution, and in that case there are 3 network layers: MAC, network layer, and QoS. So in network layer there are 3 types: on demand, table driven, and hybrid. So every type is having, again there are many types of protocols. So in on demand, so one of the on demand we will see one of the protocols we will see under QoS. So this is called on demand routing protocol. Table driven PLBQR we will see, and hybrid we are not going to see anything in our syllabus like this. In QoS framework, so this is the topic in the, I told you there are main 3 parts. I have divided the topics. So in the second part, second bunch, you will be finding QoS framework. So that is actually cross layer solutions. It is written here. So SWAN, PRT, MAC, Insignia, Enora, there are different protocols in there. Okay, so no questions will be asked on layer wise classification of QoS, but you should know exactly what you are reading. So these are the mainly 2 types of QoS solution. Just see this no questions will be asked on this in the exam, at least not on classification. So don't sit on mugging up the table, that is not required. Just you understand what type of protocol you are reading or understanding, that will be enough. Okay, let us see these two slides last. What are the issues and challenges in providing quality of service in ad hoc wireless networks? So I told you that main challenge in case of ad hoc wireless network are three. Number one is mobility, number two is bandwidth constraint, and number three is energy constraint. So all these three things ये घुमा फिरा के वही बोलने वाले हैं. So just check. Providing quality of support in ad hoc wireless network is an active research area. A network has unique characteristics that pose several difficulties in providing quality of service. Some of the characteristics are dynamically varying network topology. So this happens due to node mobility, lack of precise state information. Exactly what is the current state of the network, how many nodes are down, how many nodes are up, how many nodes are having what kind of energy or battery charge present in it. Okay, which node going out, which nodes are coming in, which node links are connected, which node links are broken. Every time those information has to be updated. But in ad hoc wireless network, because of dynamic topology, every state information we might not be having at every point of time. So that is called as lack of precise state information at any point of time. If we are not having this precise state information, we cannot define what is the route, what is the quality of service. But then also we should try to give best QoS even if in a very highly dynamic ad hoc network. That is the challenge. Lack of central controller. So we have seen it in the first lecture itself that ad hoc network is not having any central controller or central access point or something which is called CAP. Okay, it is a distributed kind of a network. Then also we should be able to give quality of service. Error prone shared radio channel. So in the radio channel, it can be bridged. Security is the issue. Okay, there may be a connectivity issue for the radio channel. Okay, then also we should be able to provide QoS. Limited resource availability. So there are mainly two resources: less bandwidth, less energy, less battery power in every node. There also we should be able to give QoS. Hidden terminal problem and insecure medium. Insecure medium means through whichever air or medium which is accessed by every node in the network. So not possible that every node will get a fair share of the media. So in that case, we are not very sure about the media. Any node will get a fair share of media. I cannot guarantee that. Okay, so media is insecure for all nodes. Some node who wins the contention, maybe he will be using the channel throughout. Okay, that is possible. Okay. So under all this, whatever is given in red, under all this problem in ad hoc wireless network, then also we should be able to provide quality of service. How we can do that? Let us check. So what are the issues and challenges in providing QoS in ad hoc wireless network? So there are total 7 points. We have to see that. So all these unique characteristics affects QoS provisioning in ad hoc wireless network is explained next. Okay, so what is the first thing? Dynamically varying network topology. Due to the unrestricted node mobility, that means node can go in any direction, anytime, network topology changes dynamically. Hence, the quality of service sessions suffer badly due to frequent path break. Because if one node, intermediate node, suddenly deviates in any direction in a very big distance it covers and go away from the network, and the whole network link breaks. Okay, so in that case also somebody is asking for quality of service. We have to provide it. So again we have to bring that node back, or maybe wherever the node goes, there again it has to establish the interconnection. So all those things, path rejoining has to occur. All those things we have to check how it can happen. So there is frequent need for re-establishment of new paths. The delay incurred in route re-establishment causes some packets to miss their delay target deadlines, which is not acceptable for applications that have stringent QoS requirements. So for hard type of application, wherever we are using hard real-time QoS, there this path break and other thing, it will create havoc. It will create too much of hazardous situation. But it's a application where soft QoS real-time delay is acceptable. There, this dynamic nature of the network, little bit of data drop and other thing is acceptable. But if it is a hard kind of real-time QoS timing thing is there, there this kind of node mobility and a dynamic thing, it will create very bad impact. So that you have to understand that where can you apply this dynamically varying network. So this topology can be applicable for which kind of application? So they are all can be applicable for soft real time. So here it is given soft real time application. So dynamic varying network topology can be applied for soft real-time applications. If it is hard real-time applications, stringent QoS requirement, stringent QoS requirement is very less tolerance. There you cannot use highly dynamic network topology. So depending on characteristic, you have to relate the application. Imprecise state information. I explained it here while explaining at the top. So link specific state information, bandwidth, delay, delay jitter, loss rate, error rate, stability, cost of the network. Cost does not mean money. Cost means how much is the bandwidth of that link, how much is the energy available in that link. So how much is the cost? So cost is generally including bandwidth and energy in that link. Okay, distance values for each link, flow specific state information, session ID, source address, destination address, QoS requirement, maximum and minimum bandwidth, maximum delay jitter. All these are called as state information for any link or for the whole topology. So all this information at every time, all the node should be knowing for proper routing. But it is not possible because hello. Okay, so if control packet exchange is increasing in case of imprecise state information, so every this data, that is bandwidth, delay jitter, loss rate, error rate, stability, all this information every node should be having about the other nodes. But to have all this information at every node, a lot of control packet has to be exchanged, and more is the control packet exchanged, more will be the overall overhead required in case of any network, and more overhead will cost more bandwidth for the network. So it's a both directional problem. So if you want very precise application, precise performance from the network, we have to transmit a lot of data packets or overheads, not data packet. We have to transmit a lot of overheads, and to extend more overhead, we have to use more bandwidth, and more bandwidth we cannot use because it's a bandwidth constrained network. So always there is a optimization problem that happens among all the nodes for proper network connectivity and to offer QoS at the same time. So this is the imprecise state information. So with little bit of information about states of other nodes, every node should be able to connect themselves properly among each other for data transfer. Lack of central coordination. So we have talked about it in the first lecture that this is a network without any kind of principal or without any central base station among in it. So there also all the nodes in a distributed fashion talk to each other, and they maintain the data flow and they maintain the network connectivity. So at certain time, as there is no central coordination, decision making might become an issue, and that might affect the quality of service. Error prone shared radio channel. So the radio channel is a broadcast medium by nature. So here ad hoc is using broadcast kind of radio channel. So during propagation through the wireless medium, the radio wave suffers several impairments, that is several problems such as attenuation, multipath propagation, and interference from other wireless devices operating within the range, which may hinder, that means trouble, the QoS provisioning. So error prone shared radio channel means not a dedicated bandwidth is offered to the ad hoc network. Whatever bandwidth is there, it is shared by other radio channels also. So on that radio channel, shared radio channel, whenever data transmission is taking place, there is a probability that interference from nearby other devices will affect the communication part of this ad hoc wireless communication. So that is actually which is called by error prone shared radio channel. And here, because of this reason, you might not be able to maintain the quality of transmission. The data transmitted over ad hoc might get altered or might get affected due to the devices which are using the same kind of radio. Hidden terminal problem, we had discussed it in long back, that two senders are trying to send data to one receiver. Okay, in that case, one sender receiver has made the pair, but other sender who is trying to disturb the receiver operation is called as the hidden terminal. So hidden terminal and exposed terminal problem is an inherent problem of ad hoc network. It will always be there. So there are a lot of protocols designed like MACA-W and all to solve this problem. Okay, but then also it is affecting actually the quality of service. Limited network resources. So network resources such as bandwidth, battery life, storage space, and processing capability, that is microcontroller, are limited in ad hoc wireless network. Battery and bandwidth, these are the critical resources, the availability of which significantly affects the performance of QoS provisioning mechanism. So for everything in wireless ad hoc network, you have to think that we have to use less amount of battery, we have to use least bandwidth for data transmission. So every design will be affected by these two constraints. And with these two constraints, every time providing quality of service might not be possible. But then also we have to try our best. Proper designing can ensure this. So hence efficient resource management mechanisms are required for optimal utilization of these resources. So these are the two resources, that is battery life, bandwidth, storage space, that is the memory, and processing capability, that is the how good the microcontroller is as far as processing is concerned. So within few steps it should be able to execute very big calculation. And so these are the four resources. With limited resource usage, maximum output, maximum QoS we should be able to provide. Last thing, insecure medium. This is also explained initially, that the channel over which the data communication is taking place, it is highly insecure due to the broadcast nature of the wireless medium. Hence, security is an important issue in case of such network, especially for military applications. So for military application, you cannot allow breach of security. Okay. Ad hoc wireless network are susceptible to attacks such as eavesdropping, spoofing, denial of services, message distortion, and impersonation. So somebody else might behave as a one of the node in the network, and he can steal all the information from the network. So these are negatives of ad hoc wireless network. Without sophisticated security mechanism, it is very difficult to provide secure communication guarantee. So especially in case of military application, insecure medium is a very bad thing. Okay, so quality of service includes security also as far as your military applications are concerned. So these are 7 points which you have to explain as far as quality of service is concerned. But main thing, you have to understand these 4 things, that not every time every parameter is a quality parameter. So for military application, security is the main parameter. For multimedia application, bandwidth is the main QoS parameter. Emergency and search operation, availability of the network is the main quality of service operation. So these are the things you have to understand. So these were the initial part of the QoS. If you are having any doubt, you can please post the